Alright, hello, welcome back. So, I know that last time you probably caught me playing Doki Doki Literature Club if you've been watching my channel. Unfortunately, I think the last recording of Doki Doki got a little bit intense, and it was kind of bringing out a side of me that, looking on it, I decided I didn't really like that side of me. So I've decided to put Doki Doki Literature Club off to the side right now. You know, we're gonna start fresh with this game that I found here. It's called Sounds of Her Love. It looks like a nice game, and I just want to have a good time enjoying playing this game, and then let you guys watch me play it, and you can follow along with me. Alright, let's begin. Please enter a character name. Let's go with Lux. I like that. Let's go with Lux. Or should I put lobster again? I mean, I did put lobster before. It's kind of a thing. No, I want to put Lux. You know, I want to put Lux. I don't think it's a big deal. Okay. Something is ringing. You know, Lux, like from League of Legends, because I like that character. Something is ringing. Why won't it stop? My hand limply reaches out towards the noise, but I can't seem to locate it. Must be around here somewhere. I sense something rigid at my fingertips. Suddenly I hear a loud crash beside me, and the ringing stops. Forcing myself upright, an intense light greets my eyes. Beside me stands a hazy figure I can't make out. It's Mother. Do you mind not making so much noise in the morning? Your sister is still asleep. As my eyes adjust to the light, I see my mother standing beside me. I look downwards and see my table lying on the floor, my alarm clock just next to it broken into pieces. I'm not cleaning that up. Just get ready for school and come downstairs. I made breakfast. My mother walks off. I don't think she's particularly happy. Well, I doubt many parents would be with their children creating such a ruckus. Still, it wasn't my fault. I was half asleep for crying out loud. I pry myself away from the bed sheets and pick up the table and the broken alarm clock off the floor. I check what the clock once read and conclude it's almost 7 a.m. Unfortunately, today is a Monday, so it's back to school with me. Although it's cliche, I'm not really looking forward to it. It's that I dislike it, but you'd think after transferring here, things would have been a lot more lively. So far, nothing out of the ordinary has happened. Though I can't really expect life to be like that, and this isn't a manga after all. Opening my drawers, I pull out my uniform. It's still as good as new. I haven't had much time to wear it in. I've only been here a week. For an international school, the uniform is quite generic. I was expecting something more prestigious. I guess this is Japan after all. Even though I've lived here all my life, my mother was dead set on sending me here. She's not a native, so she at least wanted me to connect with her side of the family. Despite her premise that getting in touch with my Anglican heritage was a good idea, the school isn't even English, it's Welsh. I'm pretty sure that the country north of England, pretty sure that's the country north of England. I don't think there's much difference anyway. After finishing doing up my blazer, I hear a shout from downstairs. It's Father. Son, your breakfast will go cold at this rate. You may as well let me have yours if you're going to waste it. Letting out a sigh, I close the door to my room and head to join my parents. Reaching the dining room, my mother and father greet me with warm smiles. Maybe not so much my mother. I think she's still pretty pissed. My father gives an empty chair a haughty slap, still smiling all the while. Father. Sit down, son. We have a healthy breakfast your mother would be proud of, would approve of. Of course, I would. I made it after all. In front of me sits a traditional English breakfast. Eggs, toast, beans, sausage, and the like. I don't think I can eat all of this. The empty chair is pulled out from beside me. I guess my sister finally woke up. When it comes to the mornings, she's not very talkative, or noticeable to say the least. I'm sure she'll fire up later though. Ah yes, my beautiful family has gathered at last. My sister acknowledges my father with a quick glance and starts eating her breakfast in silence. Tell me, Lux, how are your studies? Was that hefty fee worth it? The school is private and teaches a foreign curriculum, so tuition fees are quite large. Luckily, my father can pay for it, and it's only for my final year. It's going okay. The initial buzz of it wore off after the third day, I guess. It's kind of like a normal school, not much different from the ones here in Japan. I did have an experience at a traditional Japanese high school, but due to our relocation to Tokyo, I had to transfer. If there was one noticeable comparison, it's the students. Most of them aren't natives, and a lot more are quite full of themselves, even if I'm only half Japanese. Really? That much for a normal school? What was the point of that fee then? You want our son to have the best education possible, right? That, and he's closer to my side of the family. Reasonable. Tell me this though, son. Have you been speaking to any girls, at least? Are you really asking him that? Both my parents engage in a stare-off. Things like this happen all the time for them. For them, this is only a bit of banter. Checking the clock on the wall, I realize I'm a bit behind schedule. I give my family a farewell and head towards the door. Wait, that clock is... my sister says. I hear my sister say something just as I leave, though she doesn't chase after me to tell me. It was strange to hear at this time of day, but I guess I can't fret about it now. I continue on a journey I'm only just getting used to. The street leading to school is particularly empty. Only a couple of locals are walking by, and the number of students is quite low. Checking my watch, I realized that I had left considerably early. I guess the clock at home was a bit fast. A faint noise distracts me from my wrist. Oh. Ahead of me is a female student, presumably from my school, picking up the contents of her bag off the floor. I guess she dropped it. I considered helping her, but by the time I move my feet towards her, she has already finished and continues onward to school. She rubs the back of her head and her braids sway softly in the wind. Just as I passed where she was standing, I noticed a small card on the floor. Instinctively, I pick it up. In my hand is a library card with what I assume is her name on it. Seridwin? Considering this is a Welsh school, I guess that's the origin of her name. I look up and she's nowhere in sight. Oh, crap. Quickly setting myself off, I run towards the entrance of the school. I just hope I can catch up to her. It doesn't take me long to get her in sight. I call out to her. Seridwin, you dropped this. Huh? Seridwin turns around flustered and I approach her with a ragged breath. Here you go.
Thank you.
She gives me a shy response as I hand her back the card.
How did you know my name?
It doesn't look like she's very comfortable with talking to me. It's, on the card.
Oh. It's pronounced Carrie, like a K.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Don't worry.
Carrie still looks rather uneasy. I guess some people just aren't that fluent socializing with others. Well, it's a good thing you got it back. We're both pretty early, so it would have taken a while for someone else to find it. By then, they probably would have given it into the lost and found.
Thank you.
She thanks me again, and her eyes are reverted slightly away from my direction.
This card is important to me.
Maybe you can put it in a safer place? You wouldn't risk losing it then. I know I don't have the right to tell her what to do with her stuff, but things like this are kind of common sense.
I use it a lot. It's easier for me to reach it quickly.
I guess she's an avid book fan. She must be quite smart. That, or she just likes books. I decided to continue the conversation. What sort of books are you interested in, or I guess everybody needs a hobby. Let's ask her what kind of books she likes. What sort of books are you interested in? Fiction or non-fiction?
I read a variety.
Oh, well, that was a short answer.
I want to study literature.
She looks at me as if expecting me to belittle her, though I completely deny her expectations. That sounds great. It's good to have something that you're passionate about. Her lips move. I guess she can't stop herself from smiling. Moving my feet again, I set off towards the entrance of the school. Turn around to face Carrie before I make any sufficient progress. It's still early, but we should still go to class. It's a bit cold after all.
You're right. I need to check what class I'm in.
She doesn't know what class she's in? School started a week ago. Don't tell me she has amnesia. Carrie shyly passes me and heads towards the school. I follow suit, heading towards my class. I guess she was a pretty interesting person. Classes are well underway, and the class is filled with a widespread sense of lethargy. It is a Monday after all, and lunch is just around the corner. Does anyone really want to learn about the structure of inner mitochondrial membrane right before lunch? I lean back in my chair and stare down at my notes, which are just a little more than scribbles on a sparse page. In the end, I can't really say I expected anything different when transferring here. After all, the basic principles of teaching are the same wherever you are. There's no reason as to why this school would be much different. Though the extra language lessons are a pain. Just as I let out a small but definitely noticeable yawn, the teacher glares sharply in my direction. Bored, are you, Lux? No, sir. Oh, that's a surprise. How about you answer the question at the bottom of page 3 then? I look at the closed book on my desk and realize what the teacher is referring to. I definitely haven't done a good job at pretending to work. Still, I oblige and turn to page 3. Moving out my eyes towards the bottom of the page, I find a question that's somewhat relevant to what I managed to hear during the lesson. What is the space between the two mitochondrial membranes called? Is that the matrix? No, that's the bit inside. Well, boy, do you have an answer? In between the membrane, Mitochondrial gap, intermembrane space. It's been a while since I've studied this. I'm just going to go with intermembrane space. Looking across to the opposite page, I spot a diagram of mitochondrium with a nicely labeled arrow showing me the answer. Intramembrane space, sir. The confidence in my voice, or more likely the fact I got the answer right, seems to have left my teacher surprised. Well done, Lux. I guess you were paying attention after all. Yeah, I certainly wasn't. Teacher continues on with the lesson, leaving me to lean back in my chair once again. This time I'll try not to yawn. Soon enough, class ends and I trail behind a mass, gathering to exit the room. The crowd slowly shifts. The class only has about 30 people in it anyway. I stagger behind the other students residing in the corner and make my way to the cafeteria. Chatter radiates from the swaths of people in the cafeteria. I weave my way through those standing around and people walking in the opposite direction. The line is long, as always. Unlike most schools, the food here is actually quite good, so naturally it's in high demand. I join this queue of students, left famished by the morning lessons. Time slows as the line slowly inches forward. All of this for a sandwich? I know, mate. They're lush, aren't they? Made with 100% Welsh beef. That's what they say anyway. I find it hard to believe they would import that stuff to Japan after this one school, just for this one school. Eventually, I'm the one gazing at what's on offer at the counter. To be honest, that guy was right. The beef here sure is lush. It's quite a prestigious school. I buy the sandwich and stuff it into my bag. This place is quite packed, so I doubt I'd find a place to sit down. Just as I'm about to leave, I spot a table that's actually empty. Well, almost. I know someone familiar eating by herself. Oh, it's Carrie. It's that girl from earlier. Carrie, wasn't it? I wonder if I should approach her. I hardly know her, but I kind of want to sit down. It's cold outside. Yeah, I'll approach her. Let's have lunch with her. You know what? I might as well approach her. She's alone after all. I've been in that situation plenty of times this past week. I know how it feels. One step at a time, I make my way over to the table. Her silky braids gently rest by her sides, and unlike before, her braids only move due to her actions. As I draw closer, she takes notice of my presence and directs her head towards me. She hesitates to speak, but I planned on taking the initiative from the beginning. Hi, Carrie. It's me from earlier. I don't think I ever got a chance to introduce myself. I try my best to avoid sounding nervous. Walking up to a girl sitting by herself is pretty noticeable to everyone else in the hall. My name is Lux.
Hello. Thanks for earlier.
She's still pretty on edge. Perhaps I should just apologize to her and make a quick retreat. I'm sorry for walking up to you so suddenly.
Don't worry. I don't normally have people to eat with, so I'm glad.
She abruptly stops speaking after giving me a sign of gratitude. Her cheeks turn a rosy shade of red, and she directs her eyes away from me. I guess she's embarrassed. It did strike me as odd as to why she's alone. Aside from her lack of self-confidence, she seems like a fairly nice person.
I had an illness.
She goes straight into why she's alone. I never asked her, but I'm glad she thinks of me as close enough to her to explain it to me, even though we've just met. Though, given that she seems so introverted, maybe I am the only person that is. Maybe I'm the only person that is.
For a while, I was immobilized. As recently as last week.
Oh. Is that why she told me earlier that she needed to find out what class she was in? Her face continues to grow deeper shades of red. Maybe I should converse with her to ease her explanation. But with her personality, I don't know if it'll actually help. I can understand. I guess I'm new here, so I don't really have anyone to eat with. It's not really as relatable as an illness, though. I kind of regret opening my mouth. Hers, though, continues moving as her lips gently let out her unstable speech patterns.
I've been here since last year.
That's actually a pretty sad thought. If she's been here that long, how come she's this alone? Even with an illness, you'd expect her friends would still speak to her afterwards. Though I am making assumptions. For all I know, she could be a good friend with a classmate that just doesn't need in school or is absent. My gut feeling goes with my former conclusion, in spite of that idea. She delicately twirls the hair at the top of her braid, nervously during the lag times of our conversation. Can't really think of anything to say, so I decide to do something instead. It's bold, but I tear a sheet of paper from one of my books and scribble my phone number on it. If you ever need anyone to keep you company, then you can call me anytime. Or, if you see me around school, you can just say hi. I doubt she'll do either, anyway. To downplay the forwardness of my actions, I think of the cheesiest quote I can and continue speaking. Because, birds of a feather flock together, right?
You're giving me your number?
Though her voice is quiet, I can still sense she's a bit shaken up. I thought giving it to her would be acceptable in this day and age. People are practically dependent on their phones now. Still, giving your number to someone of the opposite sex will probably remain direct for years to come.
Thank you.
For some reason, she thanks me. Her pale fingers reach out towards her bag and she gently takes out a rather pink and cute-looking phone. I just noticed her bow. I like that bow. It looks good on her. I didn't know anyone still used phone straps. But a daffodil charm swings in the air as she enters my number. Her body shaking slightly all the while. Aww.
You're the first in the non-relative section.
Aww. That's cute. I'm her first family that she has a connection to. Non-family member she has a connection to. Finishing, well, here at least, in the school. Finishing her sentence with a smile, she gazes at me. I smile back, of course, which in itself takes a bit of courage. But her eyes quickly dart away to break our state of eye contact. She goes red again, and her mouth is slightly ajar, leaving her lips to glisten as the sunlight enters from the windows beside us. The chimes of the bell resonate through the room. I guess it's time to get prepared to go to class again. Carrie stands and shyly looks towards me as if expecting me to say something, which, luckily for her, I do. I enjoy speaking to her, even if she doesn't say very much. Like I said, feel free to contact me anytime. Though, right now, I guess we should probably head back to class.
Okay.
She trots along by my side, slightly behind me, probably to keep her blushing face hidden. I guess. She seems to have a habit of going red. We part ways when I reach my classroom, with her giving me a hardly audible farewell once we do. The wooden chair behind my back is rigid and sticks into me, causing slight discomfort. My eyes dart around the pages before me, dart across the pages before me, looking for any information that could make my life easier. I hate homework. Words echo around the room as I speak solemnly to myself. I thought that it would be easier to just copy the answer straight from the textbook, but apparently they're not here. This heavy workload, however, does seem to compensate for the rather tranquil day at school. I did meet someone interesting, though. The blossom of rose on her cheeks, her silky golden hair, and her hushed voice. Carrie's presence would be minuscule by many, but I just can't get her off my mind. Lux, dinner's almost ready. Calls from my mother reach my ear as I just about give up on my homework. It's not due for another week anyway, so I close the book and haphazardly toss it back on the shelf. The smell of cooking guides my way towards my door, but just as I'm about to leave my room, something stops me. My cell phone chimes and vibrates slightly on my desk, leaving me to consider who might be calling. I think back. If ever you need anyone to keep you company, then you can call me anytime. Or if you see me around school, just say hi. That's right, I gave Carrie my number, didn't I? Wasn't really expecting her to call me, but I guess she was probably checking that I wasn't giving her a fake number as a joke. Lux, are you coming? I'll be down in a minute. Probably not a minute, but it shouldn't be too long. I might just tell Carrie to call me back, but at least I can do is answer the phone. I pick up the device from my desk and answer the call. Carrie breathes through the speaker. Her nervousness is all too apparent, even through a mobile call. Hello, Carrie?
Hello? I wanted to see if you'd answer.
Exactly what was I expecting? Exactly what I was expecting. Carrie's voice seems a lot clearer, and the nervousness I had once heard is pretty much gone. Is it because she isn't speaking to me in person? Oh, of course I'd answer. I gave you my number, didn't I?
You did. Thank you.
You didn't think it was a fake, did you? I tease her about it. To be honest, if she gave me her number, I probably would think it was a fake too. That is, if she wasn't so timid anyway. If her personality was different, she would probably be pretty popular. Oh, don't worry, I'm only teasing.
Oh.
Teasing a girl I just met seems pretty abnormal, but I can't deny her response was adorable. You seem fairly relaxed. I call her out on the contrast of her speech patterns. I already know the answer, but I just want to show her that she can speak to people clearly if she tries.
I find it easier speaking to people over the phone. I'm sorry if it seems rude.
No, it's fine.
I call my father a lot.
She did say I was her first non-relative contact.
I really wanted to speak to you.
Oh, sweet. Her stutter flares up again. The concept of calling someone from school is still probably quite foreign to her. Lux, your dinner will go cold at this rate. I get another shout from the dining room. By now my family's probably started eating without me. It's quite a traditional thing in this house for everyone to eat together. I'll have to tell Carrie to call me back. I'd like to speak to you, but do you think you could call me back? Probably in about a half an hour? My dinner's ready and my mother's being quite persistent about it.
Oh. Okay.
Carrie sounds a bit dejected about it, but there's nothing I can do. My mother's quite strict at times, and she'll probably scold me for ignoring her if I don't go now. Carrie and I bid temporary farewells, and I head downstairs, leaving the phone on my desk. An aromatic smell hits my nostrils as I enter the dining room. Cheese. 3 pairs of eyes are looking in my direction. Seems my family are well into their meals. Yes?
Where are you?
In my room.
Well, do you want to go to Piccadilly or no? The day have come.
We're probably gonna get back really late, aren't we? Alright, there you go. I'll continue later.